Yo, man.
Michael,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey, do you want me to shoot this vertically or horizontally?
There, like
Is that
that.
good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me rearrange my setup real quick.
You got any of our images in there yet?
I do, but I don't really want to showcase them until they're done, you know? You gotta unveil proper.
All right. Yeah.
But
Cool.
I got this blank sheet. This is one of yours.
Yep.
I'll show you real quick. There's a few going on out here. Here's the other piece to it that's laid out.
Yeah.
And then here's this one, and that hasn't been resinized yet. I put that out last night.
Love it. Love it.
You see that? Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the
That
tease
big.
on that.
Pardon?
Thanks for the tease.
Oh, yes. And then I made a column one just to see how it looks. If you want it, we can do it. If not, I have another place for it. But
Okay.
but that's over here. Let me show you that.
Okay. Cool.
Hold on. It's sideways, so I'm gonna throw it sideways.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we'll see how that goes.
All right.
But that's 90 by like 45 or something.
Love
But
it.
I'll show them to you, and they'll look way better in full life.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
Cool. So how things going?
Going very well. How are you doing?
Good. We're getting excited. We're getting excited to open and get cranking. And so, so part of, our social media presence is to do, some of these discussions, blogs, call them what you will, on just really interesting people or people in our space that sort of embrace what we are trying to embrace around that blue mind mentality. And I was really, as that's a book by Wallace J. Nichols, right? And not a lot of people have heard about it, but you said you've read it,
Yes.
and you sort of live your life by that philosophy. And I grew up in Santa Barbara. I grew up on the beach, surfing at Rincon Point, and it was sort of natural to me. I could never put, a name to it, but as I've lived all over the country, I always end up near the ocean, whether it's, Southern California or San Francisco or Seattle or now Wilmington. It's water, right? And there was one time where we tried to move to Denver and it didn't feel right? No water. It felt too constricted, right? And so, when I saw your art and we started talking and you talked about sort of you embrace that blue mind mentality, I really wanted to start. This is our first one, right? And I think it's really great to set that foundation because of all the people I've met. I think you're one of those people that have this pure, embracing of the blue mind technology. And so I was really curious just to kind of get in your head a little bit, talk about that, and kind of get your feedback. And first of all, with that blue mind mentality and philosophy, I would say, how have you incorporated it in your life, and what kind of impact has it had? Certainly on your personal life, but your professional life and your art. It would be really interesting to get your perspective on that.
Well, it's purely foundational. And let me first say that I'm when we first met and I walked into your space and you mentioned that this was going to be the philosophy of the space, my
Right.
mind exploded, and I was like, thank God someone is doing this, and I cannot believe they're doing it here in Wilmington. And what a perfect idea! And co-working spaces have been done before, and very successfully. However, the philosophy that you're bringing to the space works and is going to be so revolutionary, I think. I'm just so excited and stoked to be involved and honored. So thank you for inviting me into the space with my work, and also inviting me on to this first podcast of yours to talk about it. Like yourself, I too was exposed to the ocean at a very early age. However, unlike you, I did not have this tremendous access to such a world-class surf break. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you did grow up at Rincon, and you
Yeah.
saw this surf spot at such an incredible time in history before it got completely blown up. So kudos
I
to
was
you.
just there last weekend.
And how was it?
Had high sets.
Incredible.
Yeah,
I'm very envious.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and my parents exposed me to the ocean through Ocean City, Maryland at an early age. I got a taste of it, and from my earliest memories, I just remember wanting to access it again, wanting to get back to this beach place again. So what did I do? I just digested magazines that had pictures of the ocean, surfer magazines specifically, and tried to just engage this culture. And what is it? Why is it so cool? I didn't know, but I knew I needed to be in it. And fast forward into high school, it was access one when I had a car at 16. Get to the beach every weekend, feel it. I kept a bottle of salt water in my locker at high school to kind of just filter my face in between classes, because there was something about it that just rejuvenated me. And to this day, it is that I believe that gives the power. And I do feel that if one engages water in a specific manner, the quality of their work and the quality of their life will drastically improve. And to you and I who do surf and understand this power, it's almost like intuitive knowledge. But this can be accessed to any air breathing human on the planet, regardless if they're a surfer or not. I grew up in DC. I didn't grow up a surfer. I had to find my way into this culture. And what is it about being a surfer and being in water? And I believe it's the knowledge of what the water does to you when you're in it. And with my work today, it's all about bringing that feeling, that aesthetic of water, as I call it, to the common public. And by virtue of doing so and surrounding themselves with this aesthetic, it uplifts the consciousness, thus uplifting the work life.
Yeah, and in reading the book Blue Mind, there's a lot of really good information in there. But one thing he talks about is kind of evolution, right? And how we all living things kind of evolved out of the ocean, and there's this pull back to water. Higher level organisms like us, we're conscious of it, but other animals not so much, but they're also drawn to water. And what I found really interesting was he was talking about during gestation with a human embryo, that there's a stage where a human embryo actually develops and has gills in that embryonic stage. And over time, they sort of disappear and become lungs, right? But to me, that was just such an interesting point, that we all started in the water, right? And that's why a lot of us are drawn to it and sort of feel a natural pull to it. It's just, to me, it's just got this life force that, Wallace Nichols was able to put a name to it, the blue mind, right? And that blue mind mentality. And there's people that really have taken that and incorporated into the work. And I think you're certainly an example of a person who really understood that mentality and has taken it to the next level to really embrace it, to say it drives my creativity, it drives my vision, it drives my well-being, right? Could you maybe talk a little bit how it impacts your work and how you come across these such amazing images and you look at things a little bit differently, and like you could look at a sunset so much different than I would, and you've got this gift to capture it, right? That's a real art form, and that's got to come from a deeper sort of energy or life force understanding, in my opinion.
Well, thank you very much for even speaking in such high regard. As the individual, I just am in the world, and I reflect what I see, and that's what happens.
Right.
However, when it takes, from a practical standpoint, tools that others might be able to use that I use on a daily basis, that I find when I don't use these tools, I don't operate at as high of a caliber as I might
Sure.
if I
Mhm.
engage them. So on a daily basis, I make sure I do three things very well, and if it is a great day, at a high level. They are, I engage water in a physical sense. So I put myself in the water. The ocean here in Wilmington is very accessible to me. I can drive 5 minutes and I'm there. And I go to the ocean once a day, absolutely, every day. So that's one thing. Number two, I have my physical activity in the ocean if possible. If I can't do that in the ocean, I have 3 children. Sometimes I take them to the beach, but I can't do, say, my hour-long workout at the
Right.
beach with the kids. So I'll save time in the morning after I drop them off at school to go to the swimming pool, and I make sure I spend an hour doing high volume laps in the water, clearing my mind, working on my breath work. So it rang a lot of bells when you spoke to the gills. I view that time in the pool as a big yogic breathing exercise, focusing on what my heart rate's doing in relation to my breath. I operate with very high breath rates combined with deep breathing in between my high intensity sets. I come
Mhm.
out of that experience with a dopamine just explosion that carries me through the whole day, leading me back to that same place the next day. So that's step one. If I don't make it to the pool and do that, I totally feel it. I don't have the same sort of experience the rest of the day. So that's the physical step one. Step two, I consume high levels of water throughout the day. So I make sure I get at least a gallon of water in my system through the course of the day at a minimum. What water does, as I've recently found out, it improves your focus and direct attention on different activities you focus on. So water is a stimulant in that regard to get you to focus. As you know, we are mainly water, 98%, I believe,
Yeah.
according to the Blue Mind book.
Yeah.
Our brain operates in water. We come from
Okay.
water, as the book describes. So drinking
Okay.
water is the second piece to that puzzle. And then the third piece is the aesthetic, and that's the world I operate in professionally. So looking at water. And in that regard, the key term there is soft fascination. So water, as it is always moving and fluid, provides the brain and the eyes with a soft fascination that is a relaxing mechanism. So it brings you to a calmer state, lowering the heart rate when you direct your attention on that. In regards to working, um, an individual has between 30 to 90 minutes of direct attention that they can provide to an activity in the workplace, wherever you do your work. I believe when you surround yourself with images of water, that you're going to have a higher rate of rejuvenation when it is you take your attention away from that thing you're driving your attention to. Thus, when you come back to your attention, you're going to be more apt to higher levels of work.
Yeah.
So that's the third piece to the puzzle.
Yeah. So you're saying that's pretty fascinating, right? Because you're saying you don't have to be physically near or in or on water. You're saying images of water will have a similar sort of calming, meditative, well-being sort of feeling or reaction, right?
Absolutely. And it takes you stopping and then directing that attention that was on something else to this water on the wall. It can also, if you don't have that access or the pieces that I put into the environment, you could even put your attention onto a cup that has a nice glass of water that has a nice sunbeam hitting it, and you
Yeah.
kind of meditate on that for a second. That's something
Yeah.
I've tried. And that would be akin, I guess, to the ninja staring at the flickering flame. So
Yeah.
that is another piece.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome. That's awesome. So my last question was sort of, why Wilmington? What brought you here? What do you, kind of what do you see and feel for the Wilmington community? Right.
So I've been in Wilmington 20 years. Wilmington came into my brain space when I was a junior in high school in Washington, D.C. I was hell bent on making it to the beach somewhere. I had to leave Washington because I was obsessed with the ocean. So advisor said, you should check out this place, UNCW. So I came down to Wilmington and was just blown away by the place. And anyone who hasn't visited Wilmington needs to, and when they come, they'll see what I'm talking about. Anyone who lives in Wilmington or has been to Wilmington, you immediately understand the gravitational pull this location has. Right now in 2021, Wilmington is this place that is on the verge, I believe, of just becoming like the next LA at some point. It is
Don't say that. Please don't say that. That's why I left Santa Barbara.
Exactly. Well, we're here at the right time, but no place stays stagnant. And this place is growing and has all the potential that a growing business needs. However, it doesn't have so many people and such a population that it's hard to make those contacts that are needed to grow a business. So you better be careful what you do in Wilmington, because everyone's going to know about it at this time. Everyone's interconnected, and if you're in the circles, your business is going to do well. That's kind of the business side of things. And then environmentally speaking, it's just gold. Wrightsville Beach. I've been to many beaches in the world, and this place is like a gem unto none other. Even if you go north or south of Wrightsville Beach, it's not the same place. Our water is a different kind of water for some reason. The way the river comes out at Carolina Beach, they have a brackish water. We have this crystal blue water that is just almost unheard of on the East Coast. And I just I'm in love with the location, and to start a business, this would be the place to do it. And we have some of the great up and comers. Encino is based out of here, and Live Oak Bank. And these are great internationally known companies at this point. So lots and lots of potential, both of whom are customers of mine. So I'm proud to say that.
Yeah. Well, we're a customer of Live Oak. They helped us with our small business loan. So we love those guys.
Great people.
Yeah. So in closing, I would say, what's your advice? So people coming to work at Blue Mind Coworking, they're professionals. They're working they're expected to work at a high caliber every day, be their best. What sort of advice would you give to those folks as to how to live that blue mind mentality or that capability? What would you tell them?
Well, I would first tell them to adhere to the 3 steps: be in water, consume water, and look at water. I believe those are the foundational mechanisms to get you to a higher level. Second, before you enter the space, take a moment to understand and realize what it is you're about to do. So much of intentionality is the preset, going and saying to yourself what it is and why it is you're doing it before you do it, and understanding why it is that you're doing it at the core of the situation. So for me, a lot of times when I'm working with my pieces, I see different aspects of this water nature that reminds me of what it is that I'm working so hard for. And that's essentially to get back to the water. It's all about getting to the water. So adhere to the principles, and the work will be higher grade.
Love it. Hey, this has been fantastic, Sean. Thank you. So if people want to look at your work or see your work, where would you direct them?
Right. So I am on the internet. I have a Elemental Digital Art is my website.
There you go.
Yes, and
EDAsurf.com.
edasurf.com, and I'm on Instagram at edasurf.
And if anyone wants to see examples of your work, we have 3 or 4 pieces that we're going to have at Blue Mind Coworking that we're going to have around the space that come and see, and you can get a sense for kind of the medium and your your work and your talent.
So one thing that we haven't touched upon, and before we go, these pieces that you've purchased and we're bringing to the space here shortly have a very unique process overlaid on top of the image that I'm very excited about, and it speaks to the soft fascination found in water. So we're overlaying on top of the water physical surfboard resin to accentuate the visual presence of water already embedded in the image, so that when you move with the artwork, it's going to have that soft fascination aspect that fluid water has, but in a physical form that's installed.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to bring these to your space.
Man, that's great. And if anyone wants to come see it, we're going to have them in by what do you think, next week?
I'm shooting for Friday next week. I hope that's okay with you.
And sooner the better, man, because that's going to make the space that, it's all sort of built around that kind of imagery. So that's a key piece. So, don't hurry, do it right. I know you will. And we'll just have to wait, but I think it's worth the wait.
Awesome. It was a great pleasure talking with you today, Michael.
Yeah, you too, Sean, as always. And we'll certainly see you in the space, and hopefully we'll see you out in the lineup here when we get some waves.
That's right. They're coming soon.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for your time today.
Shaka. Okay. Later, buddy.